Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story does come with an update which was 4 years later. It was titled, My 28 Male Ex-Girlfriend's 27 Females Sister, 22 Female, is still living with me over a year after breakup, plus 4-year update. I was with my ex-girlfriend, let's call her Sarah, from secondary school. We'd been together for 10 years and were working hard to save up and get married. We were working in different cities about 70 miles apart, but I would get the train every weekend to be with her. Anyway, when her sister, let's call her Katie, applied to university in my city, she lived in halls for the first year, but couldn't really afford a place to live in a decent location, so I said she could come and live with me rent-free. It wasn't weird at all. I'd known her since she was 9. It made everything more manageable for her family. Everything was okay for about a year. Even nice. She was tidy, pretty much kept to herself, had a few friends over but didn't party or bring boyfriends home while I was there. I assume she did at weekends when I was away. Just over a year and a half ago, Sarah told me she'd been cheating on me in a massive way. She'd been in a relationship with another guy for about 3 months and had been living in his house, only coming back to the flat at weekends when I was coming down to visit. She decided that she wanted to live with him openly and was tired of lying to me. She admitted that most weekends she would find time to go back and have sex with him if there was an opportunity to. It was a horrible shock and I felt completely numb for weeks. Katie was busy with university and was unbelievably nice about the whole thing. She stayed out of my way and got on with her studies. Didn't bring friends or boyfriends home. She finished her degree. I assumed that she would move on and move out, but she got a job at the university admin department and is still living here. It's not awkward for me in terms of living with her, but it's really difficult to explain to friends, and it's still a little painful because she looks a lot like Sarah. I don't feel comfortable saying to women that I live with my cheating ex-girlfriend's little sister, but I can't exactly tell her to find somewhere else, because none of this is really her fault. What should I do? And to me, at the moment of this story, it sounds like just mention the situation overall, and I think if I was in the sister's position, I would totally understand, especially when she's living with you rent-free as well. I think things might be a little bit awkward. Be interesting to know what her thoughts are on the whole situation, but it's a good time, if any, really. Terry-Sash says, yes, you can ask Katie to move out. She's a grown adult who has finished her degree and has a job. At bare minimum, she should be paying rent and her share of utilities. Frankly, the assumption that you will continue to house her for free is galling. However, if you want to continue having your friend Katie as a roommate, that isn't anyone else's business. That said, it sounds like you might be able to move on with your life and relationships and such easily if Katie moved out. I recommend that you tell her it's time for you to have your own space and that she has until the end of June to move out. Tyler Grouse says it sounds like it's a good time for her to move on. Have a discussion with her. Tell her how much you have enjoyed living with her, then suggest that it might be time for some new living arrangements in the near future. And one more comment which says, she can't live with you forever. I'm sure she understands the generosity of living with you rent-free was predicated on you being with her sister, and will probably not be surprised if you ask her to move out. It's true she didn't do anything wrong, but neither did you, and if this arrangement isn't working for you anymore, it's your right to tell her that. You have to protect your own well-being. You don't just have to kick her out, but it sounds like it's time to sit down and discuss a timeline for having her find her own place. And if anything, she can blame her sister for the situation, but OP comes in with their first update, which was titled, oh dear, am I the arsehole for dating my ex-girlfriend's younger sister? I posted the full backstory a couple of weeks ago on a different subreddit, and then links it. I'd 28 male, been with Sarah, 27 female, not her real name since we were teenagers, and we were living in different cities, trying to save up enough for a house together. Her sister Katie, 22 female, again not her real name, applied to a university in my city, and after a year in halls, moved in with me for economy's sake. We'd known each other forever, it was fine, solved problems all around. Just over a year and a half ago, Sarah told me she'd been cheated on me in a massive way. She'd been in a relationship with another guy for about 3 months and had been living in his house, only coming back to the flat at weekends when I was coming down to visit. She decided that she wanted to live with him openly and was tired of lying to me. She admitted that most weekends she would find time to go back and have sex with him if there was an opportunity to once I had fallen asleep. It was a horrible shock and I felt completely numb for weeks. After 18 months, Katie was still living with me, non-romantically. I wasn't sure about what to do about this, and when I posted on relationships, I was just coming around to the realization that I liked having her around and didn't want her to leave. Since I posted, we spent more time together socially, and on Monday, I asked her if she'd like to go for dinner as kind of a date. We had a really nice time. We kissed once, but we didn't go further. We both realized this was a complex situation and want to take things slowly. I can't help feeling that I'm irretrievably an arsehole though. Am I? Edit. Thank you for all your comments, whether you arseholed me or not. Is that the correct verb? I've never heard of that one. We have had a long talk. First just between us, and then with her dad and aunt. Her mum died 6 years ago. They have been very supportive since Sarah and I broke up, and we wanted to involve them before going any further. We're going to take things very slowly, and her dad is going to pay half rent. He offered to pay to help her move out, as some people have suggested. But for financial reasons, that would be difficult for him and impossible for her to manage financially. We haven't decided about telling Sarah. I haven't spoken to her since it happened, and Katie has only spoken to her in occasional messages. We have talked about everything that has been raised on here at some length. It is a difficult situation, and there is a power dynamic that we have done what we can to mitigate. Ultimately, we do have feelings for each other and have for some time, but absolutely never have dated her for revenge or for any other reason. I would never do anything to hurt or upset her. I understand if you think I'm an arsehole, but I'm trying my best. And we do have an update to that post in a moment. And we'll cover a couple of comments from that post just to give you a gist of what happened there. So HeyGirl333 says, not the arsehole. I mean, your ex would be kind of an idiot to not at least suspect something might go down with her sister, who she knows is living with you after she cheated. If it's consensual, I don't see much of an issue. For the record, this really should be something the little sister should be posting. You're a bit older and in a slight position of power over her in a way, so tread lightly. If she was smart, she wouldn't shit where she ate. And she needs to communicate what's going on with her own sister when she's ready. That's not your responsibility in any way, shape, or form. Hackler says, everyone sucks here. Even if it goes well with Katie, how do you envision family dinners playing out? OP responded saying, I'm afraid I'm not really one for drama. When Sarah told me about her affair, she spoke for 20 minutes straight. And after I paused, I had said, right, okay then, and hung up. We've not spoken since. Scared the Cube says, everyone sucks here. This is just a bad idea for everyone involved. There are literally millions of women you could date who you don't have such a messy history with. Think about the long term, if things go well. Do you really want to sit across from the cheater and the cheato every Thanksgiving? Do you want Katie to feel like she has to choose sides? Make a clean break with this family and go meet some new people. Eek replies to that saying, I pretty much agree with you, however, I don't see how this makes OP an arsehole. I agree that it isn't a very pragmatic decision to date Katie because, as you pointed out, there are plenty of other women out there, and it will definitely be awkward if they're together long term. However, if Katie agrees to the relationship and OP agrees to the relationship, then I don't see the issue. The only people they can hurt is themselves. And one more comment from Leah J, who says, everyone sucks here. Siblings are so off limits that you've entered into Twilight Zone territory. Katie is pretty young, so perhaps she's just not thinking things through, but you don't have that excuse. There's no point in dating someone if you don't see some degree of future with them, so imagine yours. Awkward as fuck family dinners, reminiscing about past experiences, only to realize that, oops, that was your sister, not you. The potential to ruin a sister relationship and isolate your partner from her family. No good. So, OP came into their update to that post and says, I've had 2 requests for updates and I'm not sure if there's a threshold, but I thought I'd share anyway in case anyone was curious, and to say thank you for the advice. It did shape the way we went about getting together, who we told and when. Our families have been incredibly supportive and we are really happy together. It's been about a month, but it feels so perfectly right. We've had endless conversations about our feelings and our plans. We've started to redecorate the house and we're planning to go on holiday together in the summer. It feels so much more wonderful than I'd ever imagined it would be. I don't know what else to add, but if you ever find yourself in a difficult situation, talking it through is so important. Everybody feels safer and better about everything when you communicate. All the best. So, 4 years later, OP comes in with their new post and says, my 33 male fiance's 27 female sister, 32 female, wants to come to our wedding. She's also my ex. Is there a good way of resolving this? We're now engaged and we're starting to plan the wedding for early next year. The relationship between my fiance and her sister / my ex is better than it was. Exchange messages at birthdays and Christmas, but don't meet up and exchange presents. She is still single and now lives abroad, and she found out about the engagement a couple of months ago. At Christmas, she mentioned needing to know the date early to book the cheapest flights home. My fiance was too shocked to reply. She doesn't want her sister there. I'm too excited about getting married to care too much one way or the other. I prefer her not to be there, but I'd roll with it if necessary. My fiance doesn't want her there, but all her family assume it'll be fine for the day because it's a family wedding. Oh, dearie me. And it should all be water under the bridge. I can't stress enough how little I care about the sister being there or not. I just want everyone else to be as happy at the wedding as I'll be. Impossible, or as close to that as I can manage. And the top comment with OP's reply says this one, gosh, if only 149 people had warned you this would happen 4 years ago. I'd let your fiance handle this. Her sister, her family, her objection. Stay the hell out of it and support whatever your fiance chooses. OP says thanks. This is what I'm planning on doing, and if asked, I'd just support her choice. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? How would you deal with it if it was you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story, which comes from a deleted user from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit and says, Am I the arsehole here for not wanting to work with co-worker who followed me and took pictures of me with my extramarital partner? So first off, I never cheated on my wife. We have an open marriage. We have our own extramarital partners that we see together and or by ourselves. My co-workers all know I'm married as wife accompanies me to work events, but they did not know about our open marriage. A few months ago, my wife told me she got sent a bunch of pictures from my co-worker, Jordan. The pictures are of me when I was on a date with another woman. My wife knows about this partner and knew about us being out on that date. So she was not surprised at all, but found the whole thing funny. I, however, was a little weirded out. I could understand maybe taking a picture or two, but based on the pictures, Jordan would have had to been following us for 5+ hours, to the point where she must have followed us in a car to multiple locations as well as waited outside the hotel room the whole time. That just creeped me out. After explaining that to my wife, she agreed it was a little creepy. Jordan and I usually work together fairly frequently, but I didn't feel comfortable working with her anymore. So I decided to talk to her about it, and Jordan was put on other projects. The other projects Jordan got put on aren't as good as the projects I'm on, so now Jordan is upset because she thinks I've derailed her career, which honestly may be true. But all she was doing was trying to look out for my wife. She thinks what she did was reasonable considering no one knew about me and my wife's open marriage. Once everything was explained, I should have gotten over it and she shouldn't get punished for doing the right thing. I still don't feel comfortable working with her though. Kind of even less than before, since I feel like she's so hostile now. So, in the comments, ExistingCan319 says, not the arsehole. If someone took a picture of me with another partner and sent it to my primary partner, it could be overlooked as just looking out for them. But this person took many pictures and followed you to different locations for 5+ hours. That is beyond excessive and would make most people uncomfortable. Playful Natural replies that saying, stalking. It's called stalking. Backdover says, to be clear, have you confirmed that Jordan followed you and it wasn't just a coincidence that she saw you on your date? OP says, it would have been impossible for her not to have followed us based on the pictures she took. Like I said in my post, there were pictures taken at multiple locations we had gone that night. These locations were miles apart. I can also tell based on our state address the difference of the pictures of us going into the hotel room versus the ones of us coming out, which was several hours later. It wasn't just a couple of pictures of us that she took when she happened upon us. Adventurous Travel 1 says she created a hostile workplace. Even if it was after work, she stalked you and sent the pictures. This was HR choice, so it doesn't matter what she thinks. People have a right not to talk about private matters. So OP comes in with her update and says, so a thing happened with a new co-worker yesterday. When making introductions, Jordan decided to bring up my open marriage, which was super awkward and weird. I ended up going back to HR about it at the end of the day. They'd already gotten other comments from some other employees about it and said right away that it was inappropriate and they would be taking disciplinary action. When I came into work today, I found out Jordan was let go. Funny little thing I heard from someone else was that she had apparently tried to defend herself by saying she was trying to be helpful but making sure the new employee was clearly informed and didn't misunderstand things like her. There's a couple of comments on the update which says, so one from Lazy Germ who says, I just read your original post. Wow. Even if she was a supreme busybody or a blackmailer, that's really crazy to follow you and your other partner for 5 hours. I'm glad she's out of your hair, but I'd be on my guard around my home and work and other places I go. And one more comment which says, I'm glad you don't have to work with her anymore, but my dude, get yourself security cameras if you don't already have them. 5+ hours. How does someone get that amount of time to follow someone around? Holy moly, I wish I had that kind of spare time. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below on this one. Let's have another story from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. And this story doesn't have an update as yet, but it's from Dramatic Currency 289 that says, Am I the Arsehole for saying, you should have thought about that before you procreated. My ex and I have a 13-year-old daughter, Nicole. Nicole has several medical conditions that require a lot of attention. She will need some sort of in-home assistance for the rest of her life. While we have an aide to help a couple of days a week, it is still a challenge. The outcome of Nicole's condition became clear when she was 2. At that point, my ex and I agreed we wouldn't have more kids because it wouldn't be fair to anyone. There'd be no way we could focus attention on 2 kids. Someone would lose in this situation. We divorced when Nicole was 5. We originally had 50-50 custody. 3 years later, my ex remarried. His new wife, Callie, is nice. My ex did say that she didn't understand the severity of Nicole's condition. I figured there was a learning curve. Eventually, Callie basically said she wanted to be hands-off, which I respected, though I wondered how it would work considering Nicole lives with them half the time. Last year, my ex and Callie had a baby. I was a little surprised given my ex was always firm on not having more kids, but figured it wasn't any of my business. He did begin to complain that it was a lot of work juggling Nicole and the baby. I sympathized but really didn't know what else to say. Recently, the venting got worse. He said Callie yelled at him for taking Nicole to her physical therapy appointment instead of helping her with the baby. He brought up potentially having Nicole stay with me more. I wasn't entirely shocked, but it pissed me off. I said Nicole was his daughter. He can't just abandon that responsibility. He asked what he was supposed to do about the baby. I said, maybe you should have thought of that before you procreated. I mean, really, we discussed this 10 years ago as to why it'd be hard to juggle 2 kids. Why did you think having another would be a good idea? He got quiet and said Callie wanted a baby. I said that isn't enough of a reason and maybe he should have thought harder before bringing more life into this world. The conversation ended with me saying I'd call my lawyer and we could arrange for him to have less custody, as I'd rather my daughter be properly cared for than be viewed as a burden. Callie called me that night very upset that I had made my ex cry and that I said her baby shouldn't exist. I said that's not what I said completely. More that they didn't think it through. She called me a jerk. Am I the arsehole? And the first commenter said I assume Callie had this dream of Nicole magically disappearing over to your place so she and ex can have their happy new trio. You are absolutely correct to hold him accountable, especially if Nicole has the mental capacity to be aware she's being shut out. Not the arsehole. Lunar Eclipse says not the arsehole. It's the truth and honestly Callie is the one in the wrong. If Nicole is with them and needs to be somewhere, then her father had better take her and Callie can deal with the baby. An efficient Will says not the arsehole. I'd go to the lawyer who originally handled the divorce if you had one and basically tell them what's going on. Say you want an increase in child support if you're getting it for your ex being more hands off, or your ex continues giving the same amount of care. Once it gets before a judge, tell them the same thing you told us and the lawyer, that it's non-negotiable. More money or your ex's involvement remains the same. Up to your ex and the judge. And whilst I do agree with that comment that the increase in child support, my only real worry is that, if that was to happen, that he's going to take Nicole but not give her the care she needs, the love that she deserves, because that wouldn't be right either. Nicole deserves to be in a place that she is loved and wanted, not a place where she's just being cast aside, but not the arsehole for giving him the truth basically. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Much love.
Imagine stars lighting up the night, and a shooting star so vibrant. You have to make a wish. Nothing's ever in your way. Scoring every shot you make. No, you've